All right, hey guys, Sam here, Tuesday, the 19th of September. So for today, I had a request from a member to take a look at some shorter term trading. Now, most of what we've been looking at has been on the 4 hour, hourly, rarely going below that. I do think that's where you'll find your highest probability trading, but it also requires a larger account size. It may limit the number of trades that you can have on at any one time. So, in the interest of sort of demonstrating to you both the idea that Elliott counts and the fib relationships are happening on all time frames all the time, and being able to show you at least how I would go about approaching short-term trading in the crypto space. So what I thought I would do is start here. So if you were looking for a trade, so let's say you came in, you saddled up at your desk, and you were just feeling like you were in the zone. You were looking for trades, and you felt like you were ready, confident, comfortable, relaxed. You were comfortable with the things that I've been showing you, and you wanted to find some trading. Okay, well, here's how I would go about doing it. So I'm assuming you guys know that on TradingView, you can go to markets and then just go to crypto here, and we can see the majors here. But then you can also go here to overview. Excuse me. Now, a lot of people, when they come here, if we were to go to performance. So this is something that I see a lot of people doing when they're coming into crypto. So they come here and they go to performance and they go, okay, well, I want to see everything that's up today. Well, I propose to you that if you're looking at this and it's already up, that you've missed the trade. The trade's already left the station. So, I mean, you can scroll down here and you might find something that hasn't gone too far. But since I propose to you the way to approach the market is not to be looking for things that are moving higher, assuming you're bullish. I'm looking for things that are retracing. So what I do is I want to see things that are up longer term, but that are in the process of some sort of a retracement so that I can look for a risk-reward profile that's favorable. So I will go and I'll do the opposite. I want to see things that are down. Here we are on a Tuesday, so we could go for the week as well as the day. But so if I go here, I want to see things that are down for the week, not up for the week. But I'm looking for retracements here of things that are down but that are up long term. So I like that it's down for the day. I like that it's down for the last 2 days here on a Tuesday. Month, we want to evaluate here. Where are we? So the first one that caught my eye was OK Cash. Now, some of these you will recognize the coins because they are in the ethos of the crypto sphere. Others you may not. You might have to do a little research. So just to be consistent, if you did not know anything about OK Cash, well, I would encourage you to go over to CoinGecko. Maybe you find it if it's not in the top 10. Well, let's do a search for it, and there it is, OK Cash. And I want to see at least a decent ranking in terms of the CoinGecko ranking system for the 1,000 plus altcoins that we have now. I do like to see a metric that is 50 or above, and that tells me within the metrics that they're looking at here. And I won't repeat myself here. You can go back and take a look at this yourself. But I'd like to see a score of 50 or above, and then they've got their little dot plot chart. And so if I look at a 90-day, okay, well that's interesting. So I see I've had this major move, and now I've got some sort of retracement here. Then, of course, if you want to go learn more about them, here's their video. You can go to their website. You can get some idea of where they are in the crypto sphere. A number of Twitter followers, Facebook likes, the Bitcoin talk thread. You can do a little digging here. But if we're looking for a trade right now, well, first thing I want to see is it retracing, and am I 50 or above? So let's go back here. And let's go. Now, keep in mind, you can look at these both in dollar as well as Bitcoin. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the dollar. So I'm going to just click on OK Cash. And here we see it's on, I'd like to see it's on a major exchange, for me, a U.S. exchange. So let's go to OK Cash against the dollar and on Bittrex, where I know many of you are trading. I trade there as well. And let's go to an interactive chart. And it's going to come up here on my left, and I'm going to open it up. And so it's defaulting now. I've got a 60-minute on this, so I'm going to take my oscillators off for the time being and just do the same thing that I do with every chart. I bring this up and say, okay, well, what can I see here? Can I see signs, footprints of algos? Can I see how technically the market's trading? What can I determine? Well, if we're looking for something short term, we're probably going to drill down to something lower than a 60-minute. But I might start there on the 60-minute and just do basic analysis. Okay, well, here I've got an extreme low. What happened when we came down? Well, there's a good sign. The 50 held, and we went to the negative 23, blew through it, caught the 618. So, at least that's some indication that perhaps the market is trading technically. So I'm going to reset the fib tool. I'm going to pull from this low. Take just same process, right? Look here, so we get the 50 again. So we got the 50 here, we got the 50 here. There's the negative 23. Little profit taking keeps going, goes all the way up to the negative 1 reaction, and we even get through that. So going all the way up. Again, same process. If I pull here, now I've got to go all the way back here. See, this thing is retracing the entire thing. Well, maybe you've got some sort of Elliott count. It's not real obvious other than this 1, 2, there's your 3 shallow 4 into a 5. And we've got some sort of correction underway. Right? We know it's correcting. So I'm going to pull now from this major low. All right, that's interesting. So we've come right to this little pocket that we've talked about before between the 618 and the 65. So you likely a little stop running there. The 65 held it. Encouraging. Okay, so at this point I can make the case that we have done a major correction. We don't know if it's complete or not because this could be an A, a B, and a big C coming down here. We don't know, but I like what I see here in that the market is trading technically, and I've got a pivot here that I can work from that looks technical. So let's go down. Let's go from the hour. Let's go to the 15-minute. Now, I'm going to propose to you that for short-term trading that you not go below the 15-minute. You're much more vulnerable to noise. I'm going to call it noise. You can't pumping action, selling it. You're vulnerable to games that larger traders can play, and if you stay above the 15, at the 15 or higher, there's for short-term trading, the majority of the algorithmic activity is happening on the 15-minute. So I think you'll find yourself well served if you stick to that as a minimum time frame. Okay, so let's take a look here. So here's our little pocket swing, and you look at this reaction we get here. And you see this often when you get this wicking action off the 618. That's a little bit of an FU from the market. So if your stop was too close to the 618, you're stopped out, and boom, then they punish you with that. At least that's what you'll feel like if that happens to you. And the longer you trade, I can assure you it will happen to you. All right, so looking here now, I've got this pivot. I want to see, how this has been responding on the way down as well. So I can see here, well, there's this that went very deep beyond the 786 there. We got a pivot here, so this is kind of interesting. So I'm seeing that similar kind of reaction. There's wicking action at the 618, comes down to the 23. So I mean, you could keep pulling these just as references. Is the market responding technically? Here it is again, right, to the 23. So you've got strong indication of a lot of algorithmic activity. Okay, that's good for us. That's just what we want to see. So now if we're coming back the other side, well, I've got this pivot I can work from here. So I don't love the depth of this, but this could very well be just a retest of this zone. We can see some wicking activity over here, and you see right now you see the price line here dealing with this previous area of support. Got to get through that. But if I see some activity here, I've got some very clearly defined channels that I can draw. That gives me more confidence in that low. For, maybe this is some sort of impulsive first move. Now we're retracing that. So I would like to see some activity here, but at the very minimum, just working off of this pivot, I can put a long trade on there. Oh my God, have I got a long trade? Yeah, I can put a long trade on there right here, knowing that I've got huge upside. My negative 23 is way up here. So theoretically, you've got a 16-to-1 trade if that holds. Possible. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's a valid trade. So we can go to the other side of the 618 if we want to give this a little room. Let's say we're going to look for something. We would definitely have to deal with the 50 on the way back. So let's bring this down, knowing that we're likely to hit some resistance there. Okay, well there's a 6.75 to 1. Very low risk. This is a very inexpensive relative to the dollar. This is a very low-priced cryptocurrency. So you have the opportunity here to trade this with some size without over leveraging and risking too large a percentage of your account. You can take a substantial position here because of the low cost, tight stop, and you've got good potential here. So first target would be the 50 coming back the other direction. You might take some partial profit there. You're going to hit resistance here. We've seen this repeatedly. The market's responding to the 618 and this little pocket here. But if you get through that, you've got, you might allow for a runner. You've got a huge upside here. So maybe first target here, stops, of course. As you get up here, you'd be moving your stop to break even. Why keep any risk in the market once you've got a winner underway? I mean, you could take this trade right now as we're starting to get this little activity. Right? Remember, if we go back to our list, that this is a coin that is really responsive. Where's my little performance metric? Give me a sec here. If I can find it again. Where am I down? Did I go month? I think I may have gone month. Oh, look at this. Okay, cash. So if I look at it, performance for the month, it's right at the top here. So I think before I had been doing it weeks. So we're down for the day. We're down for the week. But look at this performance for the year to date, last 6 months. This is an extremely volatile coin with certainly a lot of upside potential is there, right? We can leave it at that. But just looking at a short-term trade that we can establish, low risk, high potential return. I mean, remember we're on a 15-minute chart. So how realistic is it? Let's go back out to an hour. Well, that's the previous high. It's been there before. Potentially 1, 2, 3. That's a nice looking trade. I mean, I'm tempted to stop the video and go put that on myself right now. Nice looking trade. Confirmation when you break the channel. Confirmation. At the very least, if it breaks the channel here, we're going to tighten the stop to scratch. Right now, you're risk free in the market. It's good. Now look at the indicators. Got upside. Let's go back to our time frame that we're trading off of. Back to the 15-minute. I got upside momentum potential here. This has just been, now take note that you are going counter trend. So we have the definition of a trend here. We have lower lows and lower highs, lower low. This is the first time we start to see signs of some impulsive behavior. And the first lower low, the first higher low. Now what we want to see is a higher high, which doesn't happen until we break this high. But this gives us a trade because we have the potential for this now to be the first higher low. A break here, maybe some confirmation, then we start looking at those upside targets. Okay, just to round out the video and take a look at Bitcoin. Let me see where I've got Bitcoin over here. So I had some requests about trading Bitcoin on a shorter time frame. Now, Bitcoin would be analogous to day trading the S&P, right? This is where the bulk of the volume is. We know it's very technical. the majority of people that are trading in the crypto space are trading Bitcoin in some capacity. So if you're going to be a short-term day trader, this is the market that you look at. I mean, there are people that specialize in nothing but day trading the S&P or the NASDAQ. So if you wanted to specialize, this is the place you specialize. So if we look here now, I've got a 1 hour up, and we've been following this on the 1 hour, and we know that there remains some question marks here about whether or not we have this being a three-way, right? We know the market corrects in threes. Do we have an ABC underway? Or do we have a 1-2? And are we going to go up and push here and see more of the profile of an impulsive wave structure to give us the confidence that the 2 is in and that we aren't just making an ABC before we go down again? We cannot say with any confidence. What we can say is that this prior support has been the resistance. And we know that coming back, just looking at the fibs, we haven't gotten to the 618 yet. Haven't gotten there. If we were again, just the same process, trying to quantify what we've got here, we'd look at the alternate. Okay, well we've gotten to the 618. That's not uncommon for a C wave. Not uncommon. This was a shallow 2 if it was a 2. It's a shallow B if it's a B. But it was 3 waves. So that's your bullish case, suggesting that the trend remains higher here. We did take out this pivot here, but we have not taken out this pivot. So we have the possibility of this being 1, 2, 3, 4 up for a 5. We've got that possibility. I promise you it's no accident that 1 has not been taken out. So we have the possibility, but until we get there, we don't know. This still could be A, B, C. Just can't say with any confidence. But if that's the 60-minute perspective. So we've got to take this down because we want to be short term. Let's go down to the 15-minute. See what we can see. Now there's always the reset issue when you change time frames with TradingView, and in fact almost every chart package you run into this. Okay, so there we have, as we were just looking at it on the 60-minute, there we have our wave count. So was there a trade here this morning? Well, we can go from the 2 to the 3, and where do we go? Right, you'll see that a lot in the market. We get right in that little pocket. There's a slight tick through the 618. Maybe a stop is caught. I guarantee you somebody was a seller there looking for the market to break lower, and you will often see a violent reaction as it moves away from that. And then the stops that are sitting on the other side of that sell are hit, which triggers that explosive move is almost always caused by stops getting hit. So those are hit. Then the people that caught that on this very short-term chart on this 15-minute caught the profit. They're taking a little profit here. Now we get a higher low, implying that maybe we have some sort of new trend on this smaller time frame underway. We would also, just to be thorough, want to look at the larger. I'm going to take that off. See where we play in the entire retracement from what we're proposing is a possible 1 low to the 3 high. Okay, we stay above the 50 to the 382. I like the look of that. We have a very nice ABC. So very tradable event on the 15-minute. Here's our nice little ABC. Okay, 3 wave. So there was clearly a nice little trade right here. Okay, let's break that up. Here's the trade that we look for. We want to see that first impulsive move. Where's my arrow? We want to see this action followed by this action so that we've got the potential for a higher low, so we can get into that trade right here, knowing we've got some upside and looking at that is our stop out point. We're operating on the premise that this is our pivot on this 15-minute. This is our pivot. If this is taken out, then we're wrong, because we know that if this is going to start to move impulsively, that wave 2, if that is a wave 2, cannot take out wave 1. And we have this as not only a 4 wave, but a C wave. So this is our first look at potentially an impulsive structure moving higher. So there's the trade. There's the trade. Very nice. And you could make the case that there's another trade here. So let me take this off. Clean this up a little bit. So if we're long here, well, of course, now we had this nice reaction here. So stops to break even. Very least stops to break even, if not locking in a little profit. Well, now we get another potential. Well, I would do both. I got another. Look there. Now we've gone to the 50 again. So we have, if you'll recall from yesterday's training when we looked at leading diagonals and ending diagonals, we have a potential leading diagonal. Now, why do I say that? Take a look here. Because look where the 4 comes. Okay, so the 4 overlaps the wave 1. So we know it can't be a motive wave, an impulsive wave. It can only be a leading diagonal, which can only be found in a wave 1 or an A wave, or the 1 wave of the A wave. Right? So it's got to be as a new trend is fighting to establish. That's when you see that overlap. But I also want to make note here that if we look at what we have as our low, our pivot that we're working from to potentially this 3 high, we've come exactly to the 50, which is what you would expect. It's what you'd expect. So you had working off of this 15-minute chart. Well, you had to be up early. So there's your early morning trade. Here's your next trade, working off the 50. Where's my upside? Where am I wrong? You could trade this very tightly. You're trading it off the 50. I don't want to take too much. There's 9 to 1. 9 to 1 on this little 15-minute. I got a nice ABC. I got a 3-wave structure. Tells me that's corrective. I get a reaction at the 50. So if I'm in, I could be very tight on that stop. Just say if it takes out the 50, I want to be out. This is a short-term trade. That's all I'm looking for. All I'm looking for. If I want to give it a little more room to breathe, well, let's get underneath the 65, almost 4 to 1. I'd probably, if I was just looking for a short-term day trade, I'd keep the pivot. I'd keep the stop low. If you're long there, I wouldn't move it at this point. I'd give it a little room. We might come back down. Maybe we put in another. We want to see you see. You're always looking for a series, if you're bullish, of higher lows. I don't want to see this come back down and put in a lower low. 15-minute bars, you're going to see it's going to squiggle. But you got to step back a little bit and say, I'm basing this trade off of my premise that this is the pivot low, that we went to the 50, we've turned. So, here's my target. I'm going to let that play out. That would be a good sign to our longer-term bullish bias if I go out to an hourly. Reset. That's just what we need to see to validate the count. On the larger scale, I've got some big upside. You could leave a runner there. Now you've got, what? Let me take that down so I can see it. 15 to 1. If I pull this, well, there's at the 50, we're at 13 to 1. That's a nice looking trade. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And you're basing it off the 15-minute. But it's waves within waves within waves, and then a simple 50% retracement. We had this one, then we had this one. So you could have taken the first one, added here. Now you're leveraged up. First target here, second target on your runner is up here. Okay, I hope this is starting to make sense. It's the consistency of the approach. And then risk reward. Name of the game. Okay, guys, I'll wrap it there.